What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. I want to focus in on the Minnesota Wild's poor time management in the last minute of their loss to the Chicago Blackhawks. Here's what happened. The Wild poorly leveraged got allowed to down a goal late in the game, 2-1. And, they double shifted Parisi, Suter, Koivu, Palmanville, and Granlund, and, I believe Brodin. And, those guys were out there for a lot of the time in the last 3.5 more minutes. And then with the there's 56 seconds face off in the Chicago zone. Mike Yeos sent out, I believe it was Prosser and Clayton Stone on the back end. And then up front, Brodziak, Coyle, Nino Niederreiter, and Danny Heatley. A really second team unit that really I would have had out there the shift before. You can the guys that have been out there, the big guns were winded, and you can understand keeping them on the bench, but you don't lose the game with those guys on the bench for the last minute of the game. The onus should be on Mike Yeo to more effectively mortgage or manage his guys' ice time, so that way, in that offensive zone face-off, 6-on-5, you have your big guns out there. And, Coyle was on the line with Parisi and Suter most of the game, and, maybe I'm not even opposed to breaking that lineup because they like going with Palmanville on that 6-on-5. And again, it works out for them. It's worked for them a couple times. So, having those guys out there, maybe swap Coyle with Niederreiter or something along those lines. The specific, those any one of those 6 guys that were out there, 4 forwards, I should say, because I would have had Brodin and Suter out there. Could have been out there with, Parisi, Koivu, and then, you pick. I go Granlund's my third forward, and then Brodziak, Coyle, Niederreiter, one of those guys is your fourth guy. I would have gone Palmer personally, but if we're up to me, my 6 guys at the end of the game would have been Koivu, Parisi, Palmanville, Granlund, Brodin, and Suter. Those are your big guns. Those are the reason you got you're where you are. Suter's a horse playing 30 minutes a night. Parisi's a hell of a player. Koivu's a really clutch player. And if you want to win a game, you can't have those guys stable to the bench in crunch time. It just doesn't work that way. And unfortunately, that's how it went down. And it's up to Mike Yeo to understand clock management. Take advantage of your offensive opportunities and keep your big guns out there in a position where you can tie a game up late. It's absolute. It's on him. I'm not going to say, hypothetically those 6 guys are out there. I'm not going to say they score, but I like Mikko Koivu scoring a goal more than I like Kyle Brodziak. I like Zach Parisi scoring a goal more than I like, Danny Heatley. And this isn't Danny Heatley of, 5-6 years ago. Let's call it what it is. So it's an intriguing situation to watch going forward. If they lose this series, Game 6 at Xcel Energy Center, they're 5-0 at home in the playoffs. Mike Yeo's job is up in the air, and it was up in the air a couple times during the season. And the question's going to be, with some pretty solid head coaches out there, Trotzy and Suter. It's all okay together in the past. And, just looking at the other coaches that are out there, Bilesma could be fired. I'll talk more about that later. There's a possibility one of them is coaching the Minnesota Wild next season. If you can get a Barry Trotz, a Dan Bilesma, even a Guy Boucher of sorts, go for him. Because, I'm not totally knocking Mike Yeo. I'm not advocating firing him. But he has to be more cognizant of how to more effectively utilize his star players in crunch time if he wants to keep this season going and, force a Game 7. But we shall see what happens. Anyway, that's all I got in this episode of the Power Play with CJ on Mike Yeo's mismanagement of the Minnesota Wild in the last minute of Game 5 of the Western Conference semifinals. Stay tuned for episodes throughout the playoffs and beyond. Later, guys.